Chapter 1. On New Year's Eve, I was ready to propose to the girlfriend I had been with for 3 years. I was also ready to finally confess my true identity, the son of the richest man in the country, but when I opened the door to our apartment, the scene that greeted me was nothing like what I'd imagined. Lillian Vance was dressed up, looking seductive and enchanting. The problem? The person she was waiting for wasn't me. "Oh, my dear, you're finally here." A sickly sweet voice drifted across the room the moment the door clicked open. I froze. Lillian, who usually played the part of the innocent girl, was dolled up to the nines, exuding an almost dangerous allure. My grip on the bouquet slipped, and the roses tumbled to the floor. I just stood there, staring. This was the woman I had cherished and placed on a pedestal for years. Perhaps because I hadn't said a word, her voice turned impatient. She began crawling toward me, moving right past the scattered roses and the engagement ring I had spent so much time preparing. My hands trembled as I reached out, wanting to pull away the blindfold covering her eyes. Just then, the electronic lock on the door behind me beeped, a code being entered. The door swung open. Ethan Reynolds walked in, her childhood sweetheart, the man she had once described as the ideal love of her life. I had heard Lillian and her best friend mention him more times than I could count long before we even started dating. She still kept a photo of the three of them on her phone. It wasn't until I heard Ethan had gotten engaged overseas that I began to pursue her. Back then, I had foolishly believed she had completely moved on from Ethan Reynolds. Turns out, I'd just been the clown in her little show. "Looks like I came at a bad time, huh?" Ethan's voice was casual, but his eyes flickered with surprise the moment he saw me. That surprise quickly twisted into a smug, provocative smirk. "Sincere Thompson, what are you doing back?" Lillian ripped off her blindfold in a panic at the sound of his voice. "What? Did I interrupt something?" I asked, forcing my voice to stay calm even as I glanced at her revealing outfit. What should have been thrilling to see now just made my stomach churn. Noticing my gaze, she seemed to realize what she was wearing. She quickly grabbed a robe from the side and wrapped it around herself. "Sincere Thompson, what nonsense are you spouting? This was just a game of truth or dare with Ethan. Dear, I lost, that's all. It's just a game. Do you have to be so petty?" She tied the belt of her robe and crossed her arms, slipping seamlessly back into her usual innocent demeanor as if she hadn't been kneeling on the floor moments ago. "Yeah, man. What's with the petty attitude, Lillian? If I'd known your boyfriend was such a sore loser, I wouldn't have come." "What a buzzkill." Ethan tilted his head back, throwing me a defiant look before letting his greedy eyes shamelessly travel over Lillian's body. "Bullshit. Shut your mouth," I roared. "This has nothing to do with you." Without another thought, I slammed my fist into Ethan's face, sending him crashing to the floor. "Damn it, you dare to hit me? Do you know who I am? Believe it or not, I can make sure you don't survive in this city." He wiped a smear of blood from his lip, glaring up at me in disbelief. Seeing him still spouting threats, I raised my foot, ready to put a couple more kicks into his smug face, but Lillian shoved me aside. "Slap, enough, Sincere Thompson. What do you think you're doing? Have you lost your mind?" Her palm stung my cheek, but the sharpest pain hit somewhere far deeper in my chest. "You're just jealous of me and Ethan, dear. I get that, but what gives you the right to hit him? I never realized you were so emotionally unstable. And you think you can propose to me like this? You have no money, no family background. Are you worthy?" Her eyes flicked to the ring lying abandoned on the floor. "Sincere Thompson, think about it. If there really was something going on between me and Ethan, would you even stand a chance? Now, apologize to him immediately." She spread her arms protectively in front of Ethan, like a mother hen shielding her chick, afraid I might hurt him again. "Aha! You want me to apologize?" I let out a baffled laugh, my tongue pressing against the inside of my cheek where her slap had landed. "Since you say it's just a game, you wouldn't mind an extra spectator, would you? Go on, please. Start your game." I leaned back against the entryway wall, lit a cigarette, and took a slow drag. The smoke burned in my lungs, but it helped me force my emotions back under control. It had taken me for years to see her true colors. At least it wasn't too late. Sincere Thompson, when it comes down to it, you just want to see me like I was before, don't you? I'll wear it for you when I get the chance. But right now, you must apologize to my Ethan, or we're breaking up." She still looked righteous, completely without guilt. She actually thought she could threaten me with a breakup to make me bow to Ethan. Fine. Lillian's lips curved faintly, thinking I was about to apologize. Let's break up then. But remember this, you're the one getting dumped. Without another glance, I stepped over Ethan's prone body. I hadn't gone far when I heard Lillian's voice again, soft and gentle in a way she had never spoken to me. Ethan, dear, are you okay? Does it still hurt? I let out a short, bitter laugh. So she did know how to care for someone, just not me. Her voice faded as I walked away. Whatever they did or said next didn't matter anymore. Downstairs, I got into my car and called my family. Mom, don't call off the engagement and sell my current apartment. I find it filthy now. I looked up one last time at the place I had lived in for 4 years and took a deep breath. Mr. Wallace, take me to my bar. I sat in the bar I had opened solely for the purpose of one day marrying Lillian. Huddled in the corner, I couldn't shake the image of her kneeling on the floor from my mind. When had she become like this? Or had she always been this way? I tried to drown my thoughts in alcohol. I had fought with my parents countless times for this relationship, bargaining for just one chance. If I could hide my identity as a tycoon's son and make it on my own through 4 years of university, they would let me be with her. In the end, they were moved by my persistence. They had been preparing to cancel the arranged marriage they'd planned for me and approve my marriage to Lillian. Despite her modest background, I couldn't hide the smile that had spread across my face when I learned this, wanting to surprise her. I'd told Lillian I had family matters to attend to and couldn't be with her for Christmas. Then I bought flowers, picked out a diamond ring, and prepared to tell her everything. Now, it all felt like a bad joke. Chapter 3. I don't know how long I drank, or how much. The table was littered with empty bottles. The once quiet bar was now blasting music for a New Year's Eve party. Suddenly, nausea hit me hard. I stumbled toward the restroom and threw up under the dim lights. When I stepped out, I heard 2 familiar voices coming from the vanity area next door. Don't worry. Believe me, in less than 3 days, Sincere Thompson will regret this and come crawling back to me, begging for a second chance. Lillian's voice was light, confident, completely unaffected by the day's events. Lillian's voice carried the same easy confidence as always. So, that lapdog Sincere really broke up with you over something so small? Asked Brenda, her friend, her tone full of disbelief. Well, good riddance. I heard E-Man is back for good this time. As if seeking validation, Brenda began to console her. To be honest, I'll kind of miss Sincere. I got used to him waiting on me like a servant. It's just a shame his family background is so poor. Besides, there's no feeling of conquest. With him, he listens to whatever I say, agrees with everything. You have no idea. One time I was in a bad mood. I kicked him awake in the middle of the night and told him to catch a flight to San Francisco to buy me some pastries. He didn't even get mad, just got dressed and went. Lillian laughed, telling the story like it was some kind of hilarious joke. Hey, have you heard? E-Man's fiancée is supposedly that little princess from the Sterling family. Can you even compete with that? Why don't you just keep him on the hook before you and Ethan make things official? You know, as a backup plan. I didn't listen any further. Instead, I just shook my head with a bitter smile. Birds of a feather flocked together. It seemed I had truly been blinded by what I thought was love. How had I never noticed what kind of women they really were? In my mind, Lillian had always been pure. I never even told her about this bar, something I had founded myself because I didn't want her near a place like this. But now, years of devotion and emotion seemed utterly worthless. And to think she was planning to keep me as a backup. Unfortunately for them, their little scheme wasn't going to work. Even if I hadn't overheard their conversation by chance today, I would never let myself be played by them again. Because the moment I'd opened that door and seen Lillian's transformed image, all my love for her had vanished. All that remained was the humiliation of that scene. To me now, they were lower than dogs. I rubbed my forehead, which was throbbing slightly from the alcohol, and got ready to leave. Hey, what a coincidence. We were just looking for you, and you served yourself up on a platter. Ethan Reynolds, flanked by 2 rich brat-looking guys, sauntered toward me. Speak of the devil, but I had no intention of getting tangled up with them. A scummy couple wasn't worth my time. I frowned and walked straight past as if I hadn't seen them. One of Ethan's lackeys, a blonde, grabbed me by the collar and shoved me against the wall. Are you deaf? E-Man is talking to you. Did he say you could leave? Chapter 4. In the distance, the duty manager and a security guard saw what was happening and started hurrying toward us. I stopped them with a subtle hand gesture. I wanted to see what else they thought they could do. To a commoner like me, brat, I thought you were so tough. Scared now, are you? Ethan stepped in, a cigarette dangling between his fingers, and poked me in the forehead. You know, after you left your girlfriend in that outfit, T-asked she was so hot. Ha, you're asking for it. I clenched my teeth, glaring at him, barely restraining the urge to kill him. Just then, Lillian and Brenda walked out. The moment she saw me, Lillian's expression screamed I knew it. She exchanged a smug glance with Brenda. Sincere Thompson, seeing as you followed me all the way here, I'll give you one more chance. As long as you apologize to me and Ethan, dear, I'll pretend nothing happened. I forgive you. She smiled confidently and looped her arm through Ethan's. Deliberately pressing her body against him, Ethan looked down at her arm, licked his lips, and gave me a mocking, provocative grin. Since Lillian wants to give you a chance, I won't make it hard for you. But a simple apology won't cut it. He pointed to the ground. Kneel, kowtow to me, and call me Grandpa. Then we'll call it even. I let out a contemptuous laugh. Make me kneel? You're not worthy. Seeing I had no intention of doing it, Ethan signaled to his lackeys, I'll break your leg today. Let's see if you kneel. As they moved in to force me down, Ethan grabbed a fire extinguisher from a nearby cabinet and eyed my knees. Ha! You want to touch me? I hope you won't regret it. I was about to signal my men to intervene when a cool, detached female voice cut through the tension. Ethan Reynolds, you're acting so high and mighty. Does your grandfather know about this, Vicky? Under the bar's dazzling yet dim lights, Ethan's face registered surprise when he recognized the voice. You don't get to call me Vicky. The woman, expression cold, walked to my side and glanced at the lackey still holding me. Are you not letting go? The two lackeys immediately released my shoulders and scurried behind Ethan. Clearly, they knew exactly who she was. Ethan. Dear, who is she? Perhaps hearing the intimacy in Ethan's use of another woman's name, Lillian tightened her grip on his arm, as if to declare ownership. Ethan ignored her question entirely, shaking off her hand as if he didn't want to be seen with her. Victoria, what are you doing in a place like this? Your father wouldn't be happy to know. And don't get the wrong idea, she's just a high school classmate. Tears welled in Lillian's eyes. She started to step forward, but Brenda pulled her back. Your relationship with her has nothing to do with me. You don't need to explain. And where I go is none of your business. You have no say in it. And I'll say this one last time. Call me Victoria Sterling. You don't get to call me Vicky. Don't always use your grandfather's connection to come to my house. I have nothing to do with you. Victoria Sterling's expression grew even colder. Without caring for Ethan's pride, she took my arm. Let's go. You're not going anywhere, Ethan growled, blocking us. You dare to stop me? Victoria's voice dropped this time, with genuine anger. I wouldn't dare. You can go, but he can't. Ethan pointed at me, his eyes brimming with murderous hatred. I don't care what your relationship is. Even if the King of Heaven himself showed up today, he is not leaving with you. Are you sure? Victoria demanded, trembling with fury. I snapped my fingers. A dozen burly bodyguards in matching suits immediately surrounded us. Throw them all out. And remember, I mean throw. Chapter 5. Yes, Mr. Thompson. The duty manager responded respectfully. Mr. Thompson, this bar is yours. The words made everyone freeze. Ethan's arrogance slipped, though defiance still lingered in his eyes. No wonder you're so confident. It's just a stupid bar. You've offended my Reynolds family. Believe it or not, I can have this place shut down in an instant. I smirked. Oh, really? I'd love to see you try. What are you waiting for? Throw them out. I couldn't have them beaten to a pulp, but being thrown out of the bar at peak hour would be all over their social circle by morning. For people so obsessed with their reputation, it was no different from a public slap in the face. Thank you for helping me out back there. Watching Ethan and his crew get tossed onto the street, I smiled and patted Victoria Sterling on the shoulder. It was nothing. I just can't stand the way the Reynolds family bullies people with their power. But you should probably stay away from that girlfriend of yours. Victoria trailed off, hesitating. It seemed she had also overheard Lillian and Brenda's conversation. Yes, I will. I have some things to take care of, so if you'll excuse me. After telling the duty manager to take good care of her, I gave Victoria a wave and turned to leave. Though I didn't know her motive, I was certain About one thing, Lillian's friend had definitely told me that Ethan Reynolds' fiancée was Victoria Sterling. Whatever history they had, I figured it was best to keep my distance. The next day, I went back to my parents' villa. The moment I stepped inside, they sat me down eagerly on the sofa, firing off questions about what had happened with Lillian. They'd never approved of our relationship from the start, so now that they knew we'd broken up, they were unsurprisingly pleased. They were practically dying for gossip. I didn't go into detail. I gave them a vague explanation, admitted I'd made a mistake, and promised to follow their arrangements from now on. Since you've said that, my dad replied immediately. Then your engagement to Victoria Sterling of the Sterling family will be set for sometime next month. What? Who? I didn't really care about an arranged marriage. It was going to be a loveless union anyway, but the name he mentioned stopped me cold. I never would have guessed that the person my dad claimed I'd been engaged to since childhood would be her, but wasn't she Ethan Reynolds' fiancée? Now things were getting interesting. Dad, as far as I know, Victoria Sterling's fiancée is from the Reynolds family. How is she getting engaged to me next month? I asked. My question clearly caught him off guard for a second, but then he laughed. Turns out, our family and the Sterling family had arranged the marriage when Victoria and I were very young, but it was never made public. In recent years, the Reynolds family, eager to climb the social ladder, had set their sights on the Sterlings. Relying on an old friendship between Walter Reynolds and Theodore Sterling, they'd had Ethan pursue Victoria. He'd even followed her abroad while she was studying. Although the Sterlings had made it clear they weren't interested, the Reynolds kept trying. Before I could hear more, Lillian suddenly interrupted my conversation with my parents. Chapter 6. You've gone too far, Sincere Thompson. Even if we broke up, why did you have to terminate the apartment lease? I frowned the moment I heard her voice. I'd blocked her old number, so she must have been calling from a new one. I was about to hang up, but my parents' curious looks made me put the call on speaker. Is your brain made of mush? Do you know what a breakup means? We're no longer involved. If I don't terminate the lease, am I supposed to keep it for your retirement? I couldn't help but laugh. Thank God my parents' initial opposition to her had made me hide my real identity. If Lillian had known the apartment was actually mine, she'd probably have refused to move out. After a pause, she spoke as if she'd made some life-altering decision. Sincere Thompson, if you rent the apartment again, I'll get back together with you. You can come back too. Otherwise, even if you come begging, I won't pay any attention to you. Don't say I didn't give you a chance. Are you delusional? Get as far away from me as possible. I hung up and blocked her number immediately. I honestly didn't know what kind of spell I'd been under for the past few years to have fallen for her. Before my phone screen even went dark, Lillian's friend Brenda called. Sincere Thompson. Are you even a man? Do you have any idea you made Lillian cry? She's already offered you a way out. Don't be so shameless. You can get lost too. I cut her off, hung up, and blocked her number without hesitation. In the days that followed, my parents dragged me to meet with the Sterling family elders, and we officially set the wedding date. I met Victoria Sterling again during one of those visits. That's when I found out she had already investigated my entire life. Ethan Reynolds, Lillian Vance, everything. That night at the bar, she'd specifically gone to check out her so-called fiancé. She told me that if she had seen I was devastated over Lillian, she would have refused the marriage. I was speechless. It seemed I was the only one without any say in this engagement. Meanwhile, Ethan Reynolds wasn't sitting still. As he'd threatened, he tried every trick in the book to shut down my bar. But strangely enough, all his attempts failed. People began to wonder about the mysterious power behind the bar's owner. My name started coming up in conversations, though my identity remained hidden. That changed at a party hosted by the Sterling family, a party that would finally introduce me to the inner circle properly. I despised these fake social events, but I forced myself to smile through the endless flattery and greetings. Eventually, my parents got pulled aside for a chat, giving me a moment to breathe. With a lollipop in my mouth, I wandered aimlessly through the huge ballroom. That's when I spotted a familiar figure, Lillian Vance, and right next to her was Ethan Reynolds. If she was attending an event like this with him, then they were definitely together. Not that it mattered to me. I turned to walk away, but Ethan noticed me. He and his lackey made a beeline for me. Chapter 7. Well, if it isn't the big boss of the bar, Ethan sneered. How did someone of your status sneak in here? Did your new girlfriend, the one who just turned 60, bring you? Ethan, dear, why waste time talking to someone like him? He's willing to debase himself for a bit of money. I'm so glad I broke up with him, Lillian cooed, clinging to Ethan's arm like her life depended on it. Exactly. A wimp like him, a kept man. Why would you keep him around for the holidays? Ethan's lackey piled on. The absurdity of it all almost made me laugh. So they thought my bar and my money came from some sugar mama? Have you been eating too much crap lately? Is that why you're spouting nonsense? Stay away from me, you've still got some on your teeth. I shot back. Ethan instinctively licked his teeth, then realized what I meant and spat on the floor. You're the one eating crap. You have no background, yet you dare to challenge me? Take a look at yourself. I stayed calm. So you enjoy bullying people with your family's power? Is that it? Ethan faltered, and Lillian puffed out her chest to step in. So what if we do? And not to mention Ethan is the fiancé of the Sterling family's little princess. Even the Reynolds family alone is more than you can afford to offend. Ethan's lackey grinned, pointing at me arrogantly, but for just a split second, Lillian's expression turned awkward when she heard that. Hey Emph, once I marry Victoria Sterling, I'll be able to stand up to the Thompson family, let alone you. The fact that I'd even bother to bully you should be an honor, Ethan said smugly, basking in his lackey's flattery. I couldn't help but laugh. What? Realizing how ridiculous you are now. It's not too late to regret it. I'll give you a chance, same offer as before. Neil, count for me. Call me Grandpa and I'll let you go, Ethan said, lifting a glass of wine with over-the-top arrogance. No, you misunderstood. I waved my hand, mimicking the exact tone Victoria had used at the bar. I just think that when it comes to marrying Victoria Sterling, you're not worthy. Damn it. Who are you talking about if not me? Are you saying you're worthy? Ethan's face turned red with rage. He grabbed my collar, completely losing it. A piece of scum who couldn't even keep his own girlfriend, someone I played with like a dog. What right do you have to be so stubborn? Get on your knees. I ignored him completely, letting him hold my collar, and instead turned to Lillian. I'm curious. He's already told you he has a fiancé, and you're still willing to be with him? None of your business. You have no right to ask. Right now, Ethan dear wants you to kneel and apologize. Lillian snapped, flustered and angry, even though Ethan had said with his own mouth that he would marry Victoria Sterling, yet she acted as though she didn't care in the slightest. I honestly couldn't imagine what kind of relationship she and Ethan had. Just then, two soft coughs from nearby drew everyone's attention, making Ethan quickly release his grip on my collar. Chapter 8. Thank you all for coming to our Sterling family's party tonight. I mainly want to announce two things. Victoria Sterling stood in the center of the hall, supporting Theodore Sterling. When her eyes met mine, the faintest smile touched her usually cool face. Ian, did you see that? Victoria smiled at me. Ethan's lackey seemed even more thrilled than Ethan himself. Ethan grinned smugly, raising his hand and waving at Victoria. The first matter, Theodore Sterling continued, is that I am retiring. From now on, the Sterling Corporation will be formally handed over to my granddaughter, Victoria Sterling. I hope you will all continue to support her. His words caused a ripple of shock throughout the hall. Eamon, if Mr. Sterling means what he says, then once you marry Victoria, the entire Sterling fortune will be yours, Ethan's lackey whispered eagerly. A knowing smile spread across Ethan's face. Mr. Sterling lost his only child in middle age, leaving him with just one granddaughter, Victoria. Why else do you think I'd chase after an ice queen like her for so long? Mr. Sterling lifted a hand, quieting the chatter. The second matter is to introduce to you all my future grandson-in-law. Before he could finish, Ethan stepped forward from the crowd, full of confidence. Sincere Thompson. The name rang out, and the hall erupted into another wave of whispers and speculation about the identity of this grandson-in-law. What? Ethan froze mid-step, staring at me in disbelief. Sincere, you brat. What are you standing there for? Get over here, Mr. Sterling called with a warm smile, beckoning to me. Yes, coming. I plucked the lollipop from my mouth and dropped it into the wine glass in Ethan's hand. I told you earlier you're not worthy of marrying Victoria Sterling. Then I smiled, patted his shoulder, and walked to Victoria's side. She naturally took my arm. Their wedding is set for 2 months from now, Mr. Sterling announced. I hope all of you present will be there to celebrate. Impossible, Ethan shouted, on the verge of losing control. Grandpa Sterling. He's just the owner of some run-down bar. How could he be worthy of Vicky? Don't let him fool you. Young man of the Reynolds family, Mr. Sterling's voice turned cold. Don't think you can act wild here just because you're grandfather, and I have some history. This is not your place to speak. Besides, Sincere Thompson is the son of Tycoon Richard Thompson. How is he not good enough for my granddaughter? Moreover, their engagement was arranged when they were children. If you continue this insolence, don't blame me for disregarding my friendship with your grandfather and having you thrown out." At his signal, the bodyguard stationed around the hall began to close in on Ethan. Wait, so the Reynolds family wasn't the one uniting with the Sterlings? That's the young master of the Thompson family who's never shown his face before? The crowd buzzed with realization. With the Thompson and Sterling families united in marriage, you've been enjoying bullying people with power, haven't you? I said evenly to Ethan. Well, go home and get ready because I'd like to see how it feels when the tables turn. Fine, I'll be waiting. Let's see what a Thompson can do to me. Ethan's face flushed crimson as he pointed at me, then stormed out of the hall in disgrace. The guests, delighted by the unexpected drama, now had a new and exciting topic to gossip about. Soon, Victoria and I were surrounded by an endless stream of guests offering toasts. Chapter 9. When the party ended and the last guest had left, Lillian, who had been lingering in the corner, walked toward me, sincere, seeing her approach. Victoria smiled faintly, released my arm, and turned to leave. "I'll wait for you in the car. Don't call me that," I said sharply, holding up a hand to stop Lillian from coming closer. "I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. Me and Ethan Reynolds, we really have nothing going on. That time was just a game. I swear, they forced me into it." Her eyes were red, mascara smudged by tears, but what happened that day no longer mattered to me. "I know you still love me, right? Let's not fight anymore. Let's get back together, just like before. We can rent that apartment again, the one filled with our memories." For her to bring this up now, she must really think I'm a fool. "I'm sorry," I cut her off coldly. "But that apartment building was mine to begin with. I found it filthy, so I've already sold it. We are over. Don't ever appear in front of me again." Without another glance, I turned and left the ballroom, ignoring her as she collapsed onto the floor, sobbing. After the Sterling family's party, I had intended to deal with Ethan Reynolds myself. But before I could even make a move, the Reynolds family suffered a devastating blow. News of the events at the party spread that very night, along with the rumor that Ethan had smashed a glass and publicly declared war on both the Thompson and Sterling families. The story went viral, and all the businesses that had dealings with the Reynolds family cut ties immediately. Worse still, the families allied with the Thompsons and Sterlings targeted the Reynolds businesses directly, unable to withstand the pressure. Walter Reynolds personally brought Ethan to my family's doorstep. After exchanging a few hypocritical pleasantries with my parents, the conversation quickly cut to the chase. "Mr. Reynolds, my son Sincere is the one in charge of the Thompson family now. Even if you were to apologize, it should be to him," my dad said, gesturing toward me as I sat there, lounging casually. Walter's mouth twitched at the deflection. He clearly didn't like being redirected, but still turned to face me. "Sincere, look at me. I'm an old man, about the same age as your grandfather. I've personally brought him here to apologize to you. Can't you just let it go and not stoop to his level?" The way he tried to use his age to command respect irritated me. His whole family was teetering on the edge of bankruptcy, but he acted like this was just some tiny issue involving Ethan. Old fox. I knew that if I agreed too easily, by tonight rumors would be flying that Ethan and I had suddenly become best friends. "All right," I said evenly. "Since Mr. Reynolds himself has come to apologize, I can accept." Walter's face lit up with joy, ready to thank me. "Begin." I cut in before he could speak, fixing my gaze squarely on Ethan, who stood behind him. "In your dreams." Ethan spat, gritting his teeth. "You insolent whelp, what are you doing? Haven't you already caused enough trouble for the Reynolds family?" Walter snapped, stepping forward and slapping Ethan across the face. "Grandpa, he wants me to kneel, kowtow to him, and call him Grandpa." Ethan blurted, clutching his cheek. "The Thompson family shouldn't push things too far," Walter barked, trembling with anger as he jabbed a finger at my family. "Don't get worked up, Mr. Reynolds. If something were to happen to you here, people would say the Thompson family bullies others with power," I replied with a smile, letting my eyes flick to Ethan and putting extra weight on the phrase bullies others with power. "Fine, I'll kowtow for him." Walter growled, Truly an old fox, his ability to adapt was impressive. With anyone else, hearing him offer to kneel in his grandson's place would earn him pity and a wave off. "Oh, Grandpa Reynolds, you mustn't. Since you're being so sincere, let's just forget about it." Unfortunately for him, I wasn't anyone else. I stood up, strolled to a separate armchair, and smiled at him. "Be my guest. As long as he agrees, I have no problem with it. You, fine." Walter's knees trembled as he stepped toward me, lowering himself ever so slowly. I didn't move to stop him. I was betting that he was betting I would. Just before his knees touched the floor, Ethan rushed forward, yanking his grandfather up. Then thud, he himself dropped to his knees and slammed his forehead to the ground in a hard kowtow. "Grandpa, I'm sorry. Please let me go." Even I was caught off guard for a moment. Looking at Ethan kneeling there, I laughed. "Hey, my good little grandson, Grandpa forgives you." And in that moment, watching Ethan tremble on the ground, I finally understood what it really meant to bully someone with power. And I had to admit, using it on someone like him felt pretty damn good. Enough. "Is this settled now?" Walter barked, striking the floor with his cane, sounding years older all of a sudden. "Don't worry, old brother Reynolds," I said. "This matter between us is over. I was planning to do something to your family, but you came before I could even make a move. As for what other families think or do, that's out of my hands." I don't know if it was because I called him old brother Reynolds, but the old fox's eyes rolled back, and he fainted on the spot. Not long after, the Reynolds family publicly announced they had completely disowned Ethan Reynolds. From that day forward, his actions had nothing to do with them. A sacrifice of the chariot to save the king. Still, I had to wonder, maybe the Reynolds family just didn't want to acknowledge me as their grandpa. 2 months later, my wedding to Victoria Sterling went ahead as planned. Over the months we'd spent together, I'd grown to genuinely care for her. It made me believe in fate. My direction. The wedding was as high profile as possible. I wanted the whole world to know, and I wanted the woman I married to be the happiest woman alive. But just as Victoria and I were in the church exchanging rings, Lillian Vance appeared wearing a wedding dress. She burst free from the staff trying to stop her and ran toward me, hair and gown in disarray. "Sincere, the person you should be marrying is me. I am your bride. Look, this is the ring you were going to propose to me with. I'm wearing it. I accept your proposal. The hostess of this wedding is me." I frowned at this pathetic spectacle. She disgusted me, not just for interrupting my wedding with Victoria, but for throwing away every shred of dignity she had left. "Are you worthy?" I asked coldly, shaking off her hand. I threw her own words back at her, the same words she once used on me. How ironic. I had once treated her like a treasure, and she thought I wasn't good enough. Ignoring her pale, crumpled figure on the floor, I signaled for security to drag her out. Then I turned to Victoria, a little uneasy. What should have been a perfect wedding had turned awkward thanks to Lillian, but when I saw the mischievous smile on Victoria's face, all my worries melted away. I gently poked her forehead, and we went on exchanging our rings. After the wedding, life settled into a peaceful rhythm. My relationship with Victoria grew stronger and stronger. We eventually had children together. I still had to endure all the parties I hated, but the silver lining was the steady stream of gossip I picked up, and it was at one such event that I heard about Lillian Vance and Ethan Reynolds again. After being kicked out of the Reynolds family, Ethan became a social pariah. Having lived as a spoiled rich kid, he couldn't find work. Desperate, he turned to the same gold diggers who once hung around him, becoming a pimp. Naturally, Lillian wasn't spared. In the end, after enduring endless abuse and torment, she killed Ethan during one of his drunken stupors. She was sentenced to life in prison for intentional homicide, but by then, none of it had anything to do with me. My future was dazzling.